So some new guy on the screen. I've never seen him before in my life, and he looks ancient, gray hair in his beard. Oh, hey guys, how's it going? We're live with the Metal Lab. Another hot entrance from the old days. I'm back for a day. It's a holiday Monday, and I got a little bit of a reprieve from work, though we're probably going to be heading into the dead time. This is probably the last time you're going to see my face on a live show for a while. But I'm joined this week by Pedro.
Hey, everybody.
And Jay, who's been holding up the fort in my absence.
Hey, guys.
I apologize for leaving you such a crumbling fort to take care of. It's been a week. It's been a while. Since I've last been on the show, sets have come out. Actually, specifically, Avengers Infinity has come out. Did an unboxing for that. That was kind of fun. Did my piece by piece for the channel, but haven't had a chance to really talk to anybody about it except at the pre-release. So it's been exciting times out there in the metagame, and we're starting to get. In our house, we're actually starting to think about nationals now and starting to come up with ideas for it. And it's been a lot of pure nonsense up in here. We came up with something pretty interesting. We got to give it a good test to work it out. But we're going to go from there. But in the meantime, Pedro, how's your week in Heroclix been?
Not much, like you said, studying Avengers Infinity Wars already. We will have a nationals officially in Brazil with all the shenanigans, like any other civilized country, which is great. So already starting to some machinations on what to build. We did have a league. We have a league in the state of São Paulo that was pretty cool. We had a 400 modern build. You only accept for resources, and it was a kind of a checkmate thing. You secretly define who's the leader of your team, and if they kill it mid-game, then the game's over. Since I was a little bit lazy, I went with the team I played with, the WQO. It was the Daniel Powell and Easton Brock collaboration on the Chase Magneto X-Men name team with some cap, and I just added Forge, Darwin, and the pin particle tank just to be nasty, and it performed really, really well. Needless to say, it was a 4-0, not because of the poor guy piloting it, but because the team played for itself. Just go across the map, call Hawkeye or someone nasty like Professor X, either one of them, nuke the other team, Magneto pick up the pieces, and if anything's that, Forge does the work. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, Jay, what's your week been like?
I didn't go to the 401 release event. I did. I played at the warehouse release event where I got nothing really. I got a Photon super rare in my actual pulls, and that was whatever. And then I went 1 and 2 with like the Firefall Common Prime, the rare non-prime Space Knight. It was terrible. Psychic Blast is what hers common with Psychic Blast props. They just die automatically. I had like the Shield car, special terrain. It was bad. And then I bought extra boosters, and I got a Moon Dragon and an Ego. So that was pretty cool.
Sweet.
Cool. I did start to realize that in the sealed, if your Colossals are trash, your team is trash, and therefore you're not going to have a good time. That's like very based on very limited sealed experience, that being the pre-release and like opening packs and looking at them. We did our sealed practice, of course. So that's not to be defined, but that's how this set feels as far as sealed play is concerned. For those of you who are going to be trying out the sealed qualifiers at Canadian Nationals, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Because that's something that's come up recently, is they're planning on doing it the old way of our qualifiers from Canadian Nationals. At least this is what I've heard and seen and read. I believe I read it correctly. Is that they're running 2 constructed and 2 sealed qualifiers now? Rather. And so, I mean, you get 4 chances to qualify into the day into the Sunday. And you can do you can do a constructed one, bomb out of that one, do a sealed one, bomb out of that one, do a constructed one again, bomb out of that one, and then come midnight, you might have a chance of qualifying still. It was, I think, 1 a.m. the next day when I had my 1 year where it was just an absolute nightmare for me. So prepare yourself if you're not having a good day. Be ready for the next day coming up real quick. Also, those 2 constructed tournaments you just went through, they're gonna break you because you just already didn't do well, and the next day, the Sunday, is constructed again. So brace yourself for that one. I'm lucky this year, and I'm already qualified, but I do have to travel down with my wife, who is not. So I'm going to be there the whole time doing battle royales and probably sleeping and maybe like I heard there's a gym in the hotel, so I might hit that for a bit. That's my plan.
Wait, was Amber planning on playing this year and not judging?
Amber is playing this, as far as I know. She hasn't been requested to judge, and
I mean, none of us have, but
I think they have a good enough judge team. They said so. They're not too worried about it this time around. So everything's.
I haven't heard anything. Okay.
I mean, if they got him, they got him, right? That's all fine by me. So I guess with that, without further ado, we've talked enough about future and the past. Let's talk about some more future stuff. It's preview season, guys. There's a turtle set coming around the corner, and some of them they're a little out of focus, or they're rather 8-bit. We start with the Foot Elite. He's packing a big old hammer. This is a throwback to the TMNT arcade game, for sure. Garrett, I remember these guys for sure. But they had the Foot Clan, TMNT villain, and soldier keywords. He's got a trait, Sacrifice Swarm. When an adjacent friendly character is KO'd or takes 3 damage but isn't KO'd, give Foot Elite an opportunity token. As a free, remove an opportunity token to either make an attack or move up to 2 squares. So it's got a special movement power on its first 3 clicks. Temporary footboard, move up to 3 squares in a direct path. And then it's got a special attack power on its first 3 clicks. Hammer, Quake. When Foot Elite hits with an attack roll of 11 to 12 after resolutions, you may give 1 hit character an action token. This one has leadership, some perplex, is 45 points. Has the special powers on the first 3 clicks. What do you think here, Pedro, of the Foot Elite?
I like him. I even like him that someone sneaked a soldier keyword in there, so you don't have to be TMNT strict to take a team out of it. I think that for 45 points, starting with leadership, 2 clicks from perplex, not very likely to go there unless you push him, because people, if they come for him, will be to destroy him, single shot. But like we were discussing once, I think in terms of threat assessment and point denial, if the guy goes who's beside him, then you have a free attack. If it doesn't, then he has to deal you 6, discounted, to get him on a 1-shot. So I like him. It's not going to be meta on in every team, or it maybe even meta at all. But it's not for 45 points. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Cool. All right, Jay, your thoughts?
Maybe in Rock Age with like Jason of Sparta or something, but I don't see it being good in Modern.
I do like the splashing on the soldier team, adding in the leadership. Like, it's good leadership now. And at 45 points, there's a lot of value in that 45 points. Especially, I like that footboard ability, the free action to give a Kenny sidestep, as we like to call it. I love you, Kenny. Happy birthday, by the way. And the really cool, I like the possible action token from the Quake. It's not guaranteed, but a 3 damage Quake off the top is not a bad thing. So overall, I kind of like it, but I'm not planning around it just yet.
Yeah. That
said, we have Leonardo now. You'll notice the figure is very similar to the first version of this that we got with the Nicktoons version of Leonardo. I believe that was from the first set of turtles, which is about to rotate. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, this is going to be the only modern version of this model, if I want to be specific. Anyway, that said, Leonardo has TMNT Ally, Animal, Martial Artist, and Warrior. He's got this Tales of the TMNT trait. You're going to see this a couple times across the other characters from this era. The Tales of the TMNT at the beginning of the game, for all characters that can use this trait, choose a tail trait that a friendly character can use. This game, all friendly characters with a tail trait can use the chosen trait instead of all other tail traits. And his is Tail Requiem. Whenever another friendly character is KO'd by an opposing character, heal this character 2 clicks. He's also got a special damage power on his first 3 clicks, Lead My Brothers. Leadership. When Leonardo uses it on a result of 6, you may also remove an action token from another friendly character with TMNT or TMNT ally keyword anywhere on the map. They very specifically put that in the brackets to stop those questions, I guess. He starts with some flurry blades off the top. He's got Indomitable and Late Dial Perplex. He's 80 points or 60 points, depending on which version you want of him. Jay, what do you think of Leonardo?
I don't really see any reason to try and make this guy competitive in Modern. or just really in general with that top dial flurry and no movement attack, unfortunately.
All right, Pedro, your thoughts?
Yep. Again, I like what you get for the points you're paying, but unfortunately, it's kind of the midway in which he can be killed relatively easily. Maybe with the combination of all, the other Splinter coming in that we're gonna see might help. The other Raphael is also not too bad at all. Maybe if you mash things together, get a name team there, some probs, you can get out of it. 18 defense, not that bad. But I agree with Jay. It's hard. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of finesse to make this work. But I like the points for everything you get and the special leadership. Finally, Leonardo that has a stronger leadership. So yeah, but I don't think it's a bad. It's just not enough for current powerhouse that we have in meta.
With the information I have now, I'm kind of not big on this Leonardo. Specifically, his tail, his Requiem power there. I wouldn't give that to somebody else because I got to be dying for that to be any good. Yeah. Right? So it's like, all right, a guy died, I'm healing twice. Oh, right, a guy died.
Yeah.
Well, it makes hogs. It's not bad.
Yeah, but make sure you don't leave anyone half damaged. Only finish whoever start, and this thing is lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So not a big fan of it either. But it is what it is. Can't have everything great. But
Leo was already a hard sell for you to begin with.
He is the worst leader, and I don't know why they gave him good leadership. All right, next up, we have the first of the chases, Michelangelo, the 8-bit version. He's TMNT ally, and martial artist keywords. He ignores characters for movement. His first trait, auto-scrolling skate level. At the beginning of your turn, you may move Michelangelo 1 square. Free, move up to 3 squares in a direct path. So you can give him like 4 squares of movement without taking an action in a single turn. Then he's got jump kick for his power, which he has on the first 3 clicks of his lower point dial, or his 3rd, 4th, and 5th if you play the full points for him. As hypersonic speed, when Michelangelo uses it, he can use ignore elevated terrain and hindering, but modifies his speed by -3. His nunchucks or nunchakus, first 2 clicks and his last 2 clicks. First 2 clicks of his high point version, last 2 clicks of both versions. It's flurry. Each time Michelangelo hits an opposing character after resolutions, you may give that character an action token. And then it's what you see dial. If you pay 100 points, you start off with some perplex. You don't get anything until the late dial, which is support on his 75-point version. He's got Indomitable. Pedro, your thoughts on the chase Michelangelo?
I like free movement is great. Twice is even better. And if you put the other Michelangelo with the smoke cloud sidestep, then he can move 6 squares. It's fun. But it's going to be hard. In my view, it's going to be hard to get him to make this first sweet charge flurry attack giving action tokens, which is devastating and is actually very strong. But with a 17 toughness, unless you have very good defense for him that can help you find a way to get him get some strikes out of his first 2 clicks, odds are that you don't need much to get him off of the first 2 clicks, and then his energy is still deflection and he's probably dead from there. So based on how fragile he is for 100 points, I love the first 2 clicks. I love the powers, but very difficult to extract something out of it. So amazing in casual, but again, I don't know. Not feel very confident for meta.
All right, Jay, your thoughts?
I want to like him. I just feel like he's just a little expensive. I mean, not ridiculously overcosted, but just slightly to the point where I just feel like, despite the force movement and then make maybe do a call or something, I don't see it.
Yeah, one of the things about this guy I'm really noticing is I like them better when he's 75 points in black and white.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have a spider drone. I believe they said these are coming in the starter set. So it's a bystander. It's charge, precision strike, super senses, tiny with 1 damage, ignores hindering and elevated terrain. It's 10 points. It is what it is.
Yep. It's almost as good as a Carnage, right? Which is also 10 points. So very comparable.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd put a spider drone or a giant girl or
a giant girl, the new one from the starter set, right?
Yeah, it's hard choice there, guys. I don't know.
So don't want to be mean, but even the extra pog from Carnage is better. You don't need to put the Carnage itself. The extra pog at 10, you're still better off.
Yeah. All right, I think we all agree on that. It is what it is. It's definitely starter set material. Welcome to bystanders is what it is. All right. So next up, we had an article talking about the legality for national championships, when figures are going to be ready to go, when rotation occurs, and the modern age legality of things. Just as so for a heads up, anything that was released in the UK will be released in Canadian National, or will be legal in Canadian National. So basically, all the figures that are going to be on sale Canadian Nationals are going to be legal. Hey, how about that? So. Good news, everybody, because the tournament, they won't be tournament legal until July 7th. And I believe it's earlier in July that they're having UK Nationals, correct?
So what was the question?
June. Sometime in June is UK Nationals?
June 1st to 3rd or something.
Yeah. So that is what it is. And then, of course, the map legality. This article kind of runs it all down and tells us what's going to be going down. But it also gave us some previews. Thanks, WizKids. Love you guys. They also have some of the qualifiers, qualifying requirements for your Sunday full-blown constructed events. So either last year's defending Heroclix national champions. So if you won the nationals last year, you're qualified for nationals this year. If you qualify by winning or you get qualified via a 2017-2018 WizKids Open Regional Championship event. That's how I'm getting in. I won a couple regionals locally here, WKOs. And then, your sealed constructed qualifiers that weekend. That's how you get it. For anyone who wasn't aware or needed to be made aware. As far as the legality of some of the things, they also specifically pointed out that Lockdown, Shadowcat, and all the stuff from the WKOs are going to be cool. And they're all going to be fantastically available. Maps again, kind of there. Let's talk about the fun stuff, right? All the boring stuff. Let's talk about the Blackbird because everybody else is talking about the Blackbird. All right, so we have this dial attached to the Blackbird. It flies. It's a vehicle, and it's got this resource dial. If you're unfamiliar, we're heading into Quinjet territory, kids. So if you remember what the Quinjet was, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences here that the more experienced and more aware players are going to be familiar with. So don't panic. It's not the exact same thing. If you're unfamiliar with the Quinjet, this is going to be a brand new thing for you. Let's start with the pilot ability, reconnaissance transport. Its prerequisite is an X-Men keyword character, and they have to be piloting the vehicle. Its adjacent friendly characters modify range by +2. Pretty cool. Next, so fast it doesn't show up on radar, modify Blackbird's defense by +1 if it moved during your last turn. Relax, I've survived more jet crashes than any human or mutant or human alive, which is a little throwback to a line in the comic that Cyclops was piloting this thing, which is great when you see that when the Blackbird is KO'd, wrecked, and a character with the X-Men keyword is the pilot, do not roll the D6. After resolutions, modify that character's combat values by +1 until the end of your next turn. If that character is also named Cyclops, heal him 1 click and modify his combat values by an additional +1. This ability is protected Pulse Wave. Other than that, all the powers are what you see is what you get. It follows the standard vehicle rules. But here's where we get into the resource style. So for an additional 5 points on top of your either 120, 100, or 55, so at 125, 105, or 60 points, you get this resource style. The resource costs 5 points. Blackbird may be played without paying this cost, but if you do, this dial is not used. The resource must be assigned to Blackbird. So this is your resource dial. It starts with click number 1 with a 10. What do these numbers mean? Let's explain that. Clicking the dial. When you remove an ID card from the game using its call-in help, you may roll it and turn this resources dial clockwise that many times. When Blackbird's clears action tokens or takes damage from an opposing character's attack after resolutions, you may turn this resource dial once clockwise. Scoring, if the Blackbird is scored, the resource is removed from the game and scored. And then it's got a special power. I have some time to help. Power, choose an ID character on your sideline of equal or less points than the resources dial indicates. Place that ID character on the map adjacent to the Blackbird. Remove that ID card from the game. Then roll a d6, turning this resource dial to the click number matching the result. Add 1 to the result if a student ID card. If it's a student ID card, that character is no longer an ID character, can't use willpower, and is returned to your sideline if it would take damage. Holy smokes! How's everybody feel after that? All right, so let's talk Blackbird. I'm just going to go off gonna start this one off because I'm greedy.
Nice.
It is similar to, but not the same as the Quinjet. Here's your similarities: the resource dial, very similar effect, very similar in the way it works, as far as moving it and how and what its goal is to do. The Blackbird cannot be autopiloted, which is something the Quinjet could do, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
The Quinjet can be penetrated through Psychic Blast, etc., on the first couple clicks, and can be pulse waved and so on and so forth.
I'm pretty sure the Quinjet reduced penetrating.
Yeah, it reduced penetrating, so the Blackbird can be. It doesn't gain sidestep. There's a number of things it doesn't do that the Quinjet did. It does have more passengers, because I believe the Quinjet only had 4. Again, you're required to have a pilot on this vehicle in order to move it and basically function with it. So you have to devote points into that. In addition to which, the I have some time to help type power on the Quinjet was a free action. This is a power action, which is a huge difference maker as far as the pacing is concerned. Now, as well, the Quinjet counted, if I remember correctly, for 3 characters towards your ID card count.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right? This does not count as 3 characters. It counts as 1. So I believe this is also packaged with, if I'm wrong, correct me, with the Jean Grey Iceman student ID cards, Iceman Cyclops.
The first class.
The first class.
Yep. Okay. So
I think there's one more thing that you do get the +1 on the D6 result if it's a student card, which
yes.
If you're lucky, you can just chain, and start pulling the 50 points, which is a good point to bring characters in one round after the other. Well, two out of 3.
You're not getting a free action Nick Fury these days, that's for sure. All right. So I've kind of explained a lot of the big differences. Pedro, from my differences that I've mentioned and what we know about the Blackbird and everything that we've gone on about, what do you think of the Blackbird as far as everything's concerned?
I like him. Let me preface that by saying that I'm a big Quinjet fan. It's one of the teams I had most fun playing with, so I'm a little bit biased, but I like him a lot. I think you have the 3 that, I would love if the red starting line was 150 and get a little bit more, because then you could call in Storm and have the full fun with X-Men, but that's not impossible to call Storm, although we'd have to get a little lucky on the resource dial. It's doable. But I think that, at any point value you pick, it's a matter of combination. I do think that it's going to increase the Cyclops price a lot, the super rare, because you can have 1 pilot and a couple outside, perplex for days and all the shenanigans, and the extra attacks. 14 is enough to get you halfway across the map, which is going to give you all the extra goodies for calling X-Men, Wolverine and Cyclops, post half of them. So I think there's plenty of stuff to do with the Quinjet, even at 55 points plus the resource dial. It does count as 60 points, right, for calling in the Iceman, if I recall correctly?
No, resource dial won't add points to its actual value. No.
Yeah, so you won't be able to call Iceman, but at least it's healthy to call all the other 50 guys. So either a 55 or 100, I don't think you're doing, or even 120. Perplex is always great, some resistance. So I'm a big fan. Stealth is all right. It's going to be harder to find,
2x4 stealth is a little harder.
Yeah, but it's thematic and it's good. So I like him. I think it's gonna see the table for sure. It's not to the be all and end all of all resources, but I like it a lot.
All right, Jay, your thoughts?
I'm definitely not as big a fan as I was of the Quinjet. Like, I feel like the 70 points on the Quinjet was way more playable than the 55 points here. And sidestep hurts. The being a power action hurts. Needing a pilot absolutely hurts. Because I think because autopilot at the time was you could do anything.
And attacking.
You took one unavoidable if you made an attack. So essentially you could autopilot with the Quinjet.
Well, a lot of people, like I basically autopiloted it and used it as a call-in engine until I really needed to get some sidestep on it, I guess.
Well, I would always turn 1, move, then clear. Real Boy the Atom. If I'm lucky, I get to 50 or 60 to call on the Iron Man pilot, whatever.
Exactly. The super rare, yep.
This feels a lot more balanced, way less shenanigansy. Like, you can definitely build with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the idea of, you call on a Cyclops, and it has a 10 range because of the pilot ability. Like, the pilot ability is good, but sidestep is also really good. The the +1 defense is never going to matter, but it's never unhittable anyway. The pilot thing is good, but you're giving up a lot of points to get one turn with the pilot on those awesome stats. Like, I mean, it should see some play, but I don't see myself personally playing it. But that's just me.
Yeah, my question becomes in my head. I'm not saying this is the answer, but my question in this case is: we said a lot of not as good as when it came to Jakeem Thunder versus the Zombie Super Skrull. But then the Zombie Super Skrull faded out of existence, and then here came Jakeem Thunder to dominate the game for a little while. Here we go. We have the Blackbird, basically the same thing as a Quinjet, not as good, but Quinjet doesn't exist, right? And it's good enough in some cases to be used. I think personally, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to probably run a dial with it or run a a printout with it nearby just to see if the flow of it feels as disjointed as it does when I'm reading it. I don't want to give up on it yet because I don't want to eat my words. But it definitely doesn't have that Quinjet, oh my gosh, feel to it yet. But at the same time, we all kind of poo-pooed the Quinjet until it started working. So
the Quinjet took a while to work.
Yeah, the Quinjet was late in this game in a world that existed with, if I remember correctly, the Quinjet came out and batteries were still legal, right?
Yeah, so the green battery was really a hindrance because it basically had Perplex, Sidestep, and the free action at the time that it was, with the pilot or whatever.
This vehicle definitely will require a really good pilot behind the wheel because it doesn't have attack and damage. To make use of that. It also lacks range, but we all know Cyclops is riding it. He's got range, he's got attack, he's got damage. Let's not fool ourselves.
I don't know if it beats like Unimind plus insert good cosmic stuff.
I don't think it does because when we go to the Quinjet, it was the ID cards that gave it those options, and we don't have that now.
Like Unimind can pick stealth. There's like what now one stealth busting option, and that's that one X Factor Cyclops, I think. Like, so like you just don't you need to get a Wolverine attack in, and then he's going through reducers, and like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not confident right now. I mean, things can change. You never know.
I just want to put it on the table, get some ID cards to see what we have to work with. Basically,
we're getting even more ID cards in Days of Future Past on top, so who knows?
Yeah, but if I recall correctly, and please correct me again, this is by far not a defense that this will dominate the game because I don't think it's going to be the case. But with what we have so far, this will likely be played on an X-Men only team. Yep. You're gonna get the teams. There's a lot of Cyclops super rare there. You can actually get 3 out of it. 1 to pilot and 2 to. You'll be able to call 2 of them. 1 with the student ID card and 1 with the normal faculty ID card. Wolverine will be there, and all of them get a barrage of extra stackers or better attacks when they cross midfield. So I'm not saying by any means that this is a guaranteed win against Unimind. On the contrary, it's a tough battle. But if you know, there's only so much Unimind can do in a round, and you're dishing out 3, 4, 5 extra attacks afterwards, and I think it's complicated. It's not an easy match and say, well, just blow through and get it done. It's complicated. The Jad is named, it's a keyword at X-Men, right? So if you attack it, it's already guaranteed that all the headmaster will have an extra attack on whoever got him. So it's not that simple. You have to come and deal with the team almost entirely, because otherwise the pushback will not be easy.
Yeah. All right. So those are the initial thoughts. We'll come back with our tails tucked between our legs when we're all wrong.
Exactly.
All right. Next up, we have Daredevil. It's kind of based on the Frank Miller's version, which is very similar to the Netflix series season 1 for sure. Daredevil's got the Marvel Knights and martial artist keywords, ignores elevated and hindering for movement purposes. He's got a trait echolocation, probability control, but only when attacking or being attacked. So he's kind of self-centered on that one. Then he's got a special damage power. Matt's got magic powers. Gives him stealth. As well, free, if Daredevil is within 4 squares in line of fire of a friendly character that is not on its starting click, place him adjacent to that character. And then it's mostly what you see is what you get dial. Outside of that, he's 50 points for 4 range, though. And yeah, so what do you think, Jay, on this particular range?
I think the special power gives him some potential because he can do what essentially 5 square sidestep, kind of, because he's within 4. Place him and like he can position awesomely for ID cards, basically. But that's pretty much it. So I'm not saying no, but like I don't anticipate him seeing any play really.
Okay. Pedro?
Yep, same. Again, I like you get a lot for the 50 points, but complicated to situationally he's gonna be amazing, but you know, it's I don't see a lot going on.
Yeah, it's guys like this that make me miss the Avengers ID cards.
Yep. Oh, so many good stuff that's coming out for that. You know, you miss the ID cards, man.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Orion. Kingdom Come's version of Orion. If anybody's familiar with the book, they visited Orion very briefly to see if he could help them keep prisoners. All right, so he's got Apocalypse, New Gods, Future Ruler, and Warrior keywords. He's isolated from this violent world on his 25-point line, so it's a Kingdom Come character. They're keeping with this mechanic. Good job, guys. Orion starts the game placed at least 6 squares from any starting area and not adjacent to another character. While on click 11, he has Immobile, and when he is the only character on your force for an opposing character or an opposing character critically hits another friendly character, you may turn him to click 7 and he can't be healed for the rest of the game. At 160 points, he's got this trait. We will make things right again. Orion's combat values can only be modified by powers or abilities from characters with the Kingdom Come team ability. Orion has protected Outwit, but only from characters without Kingdom Come. He's got a special movement power, which is part of his dial here. Many men equally become their fathers, or eventually become their fathers. So what's with my reading today? Opposing characters within 4 squares can't use willpower. He's got 8 range. Indomitable, and well, he's got a Kingdom Come dial for 160 points. That's a meaty dial. But it does come with some mid-dial Battle's Fury that you have to kind of deal with. But if you happen to get that critical hit off of the 25-point dial, hello, Precision Strike. So, or sorry, not Precision Strike, Psychic Blast. Derp. All right, Pedro, what are your thoughts on Orion?
It's fun. It's a lot of points. You're not gonna perplex him. You know, I don't think you're gonna have any meaningful KC to play with him. I honestly hope I don't get trashed, but I don't like his KC 25 points power. Very easy to get around it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, but that's where it's up. If you allow me the joke, he would be actually decent in sealed, but there's not a possibility. So it is what it is.
Can I have him in a battle royal, guys?
Exactly. Mind? Can we say it? The point is, I think just my last comment will be, I think it's a little bit, how to say that, unsynchronized or not very swiftly synergetic. How his second to third click transition, because he has a 8 range, which is pretty decent. 12-4 penetrating psychic blast. It's amazing. But then you are at charge for 5 with Battle Fury, so you're not going to use the full range of 8, because then if you take damage, you're stuck back there. So you want to hit him from 5, or if you get too close, then you don't shoot. So I don't see him progressing in the way the Clixed plays. It's either from far or very up close. At 160 points, you want to have a lot of mobility to make this work. So yeah.
All right, Jay.
The lower dial may as well not exist because it doesn't have invincible. So you're just giving away 25 points in the world of shredders. So that's, and also, yeah, the range is so low. Like, unless you're on a map which is has very specific areas where you have to move and whatnot, like where the battle has to be, it's not going to work anyways. The power is okay, but yeah, just we'll get shredded, so I don't really care. Top dial looks very good for casual, but that's about it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Next up, and this one's personally my favorite. Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura. They have a Starfleet keyword. They have a special trait. That's the way they want you to feel. It makes them think that they're alive. If Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura has 25 points, they are KO'd when they cross the red line. Special defense power at the other side of that red line, so it's 65 points to get this. We have your psychokinetic abilities, but at twice your power level. It's a stop, and it comes with energy shield. And then they've got a special damage power. They're making me tremble, but I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. Perplex. Free, destroy one piece of blocking terrain within range and line of fire, or remove one barrier marker from the map. And then it's so what you see is what you get dial with the Federation of Planets team ability, which is basically Avengers or Brotherhood, +1 movement, or sorry, not Brotherhood, JLA, +1 movement when making a move action. And then they're 18. This is a what you see is what you get dial outside of the little special powers. I'm a big fan of the 25-point version of this. 25 points for Perplex and the heck with blocking terrain, or remove a barrier. Like sometimes one barrier is enough to remove it from somebody pesky like the Green Lantern. Because a lot of people are using that free barrier. They're going to be forced to take full-blown action barriers out of that. It comes with sidestep. It comes with some incapacitate if you really want to be taking some actual actions with it to possibly slow characters down. For 25 points, I don't see this being a bad thing, personally. I don't know. What do you think, Pedro?
I completely agree. And 18 super senses for maybe you guys go there and try to get rid of this, pesky piece, and then you get away with it. So I like it. I like it. I'm with you. For the 65, people can work around it. 6 range for an 11-3, it's fun, but you're not counting on using it, and it's already a big hunk of your team. But at 25, I think I'm with you. It's 100, very worth it.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, and it's also kind of weird for the 65-point line that despite the fact that you can't ignore the energy shield with Pulse Wave still says printed defense, so it kind of doesn't work still. So you can kind of still get around it. And even if you do, it's not, I don't see it being worth the points you're paying for it. So yeah, 25 points for a little bit of, you're basically already paying 25 points for Perplex anyway. And they're hard to hit. They can move 10 squares in a turn. Theoretically, it's, pretty good little 25-point piece.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, next up, we get back into the Turtles previews. The ID cards were all student ID cards. So, they're just the characters, 3 points. We don't need to go into them too deeply. There's no inspiration from student character cards. So, next we have the Splinter. This one's from the Out of the Sewers cartoon. It looks like the 2003 animated series. So we got Splinter with a TMNT ally, animal, and martial artist keywords. Follow me, Turtles. Whenever a friendly character with a TMNT keyword uses sidestep, it may move 3 squares instead of 2. They're doing this a lot, I noticed. Yep. Last 2 clicks, a pizza reward, special attack power. When an adjacent friendly character hits one or more opposing characters after resolutions, heal that friendly character 1 click. That's a great late dial power. 60 points. It's got defend with 18 defense on the first 2 clicks. Precision strike with 11 attack on its first 3 clicks. And leap climb. It's got leadership and then perplex across the dial. Pedro, what do you think of this Splinter?
I like him. It's borderline really good. I like leadership. I like perplex afterwards. 18 defense. Defend is not bad at all. Missing move and attack is a thing, but 5 clicks. The last 3 has flurry with 11 or 10 attack plus the healing thing. I like him. I honestly like. I don't think it's gonna be meta. Like we said, if we can find a turtle team and make things work, or a team that he can fit in, I think he might be worth the points, but it's a little bit situational. Nevertheless, I don't think you're getting, I think you are getting what your money is worth here in terms of point. Leadership, perplex, precision strike, defend, flurry, it's all over there. Leap and climb, not very useful in the first clicks, but I don't dislike him. I think he might have a shot. Not immediate meta at all, but he might have a shot.
Jay?
I'm not sure if he ever sees meta, but he definitely looks fun for casual. Like, he has low movement, but Menatili can just mitigate that entirely. Leadership is always good. Then you can roll it too, and maybe get the token off. Defend is good. It's weird how you almost want to push off the leadership there. But yeah, looks very fun for casual.
Yeah, it would require a little bit of situation read on that one for sure. But
yeah.
What were you going to say there, Pedro?
No, I was just going to say that the only thing better than a 2 movement sidestep, it's a 3 movement sidestep. So
yeah, that's right. Which TMNT, which of the actual Ninja Turtles have we seen with sidestep so far, though?
I have to check. I don't think we have any on the top click.
I know we got late dial for sure, but I don't think any of them start off with it. So.
What, you mean from this set or in general?
From this set.
I
don't think we have yet.
So there might have been some past sight on that one where they didn't put the blinders on and looked at some stuff from the past.
Yep.
Actually, now that I think about it, using it with that Space Mikey, which gives sidestep while in Smoke Cloud, could go a long way.
Plus the other free movements they'll get. So it's a enhanced sidestep on top of the move 1 free and then move 3 in a direct line. So maybe a lot of free movement around.
Speaking of Michelangelo, let's talk about his new Nicktoons version. So he's got the tails of the TMNT power. He's also TMNT ally, animal, and martial artist. But his tail into Dimension X, stealth, and ignores elevated and hindering. So a little bit more motion-based than the Leonardo one. I'd probably take this over the Leonardo one, to be honest, myself, unless I'm planning on bringing a bunch of tokens. He's got special attack power on his first 2 and his last 2 clicks. Booyakasha! When Michelangelo hits an opposing character with an attack, after resolutions, choose one. Smoke Cloud at no cost, or friendly characters modify +1 attack until your next turn. He's aquatic. He's indomitable. He starts with 10 movement with charge on the 80-point value, or he starts with 10 movement with flurry on his lower point value. It either starts with empower or perplex. The turtles are already good next to each other, so I think the empower is really awesome. But that's kind of my hot take there. Jay, what do you think?
Looks very fun. I mean, he's Mikey's. He does fun, silly things. Flavor text is all good. Not really meta though. Like he doesn't like giving the stealth to all the turtles with the tail keyword is okay, but we've seen 2, and the Leo is just not good. So like he gives himself the stealth, which is nice, but it looks incredibly fun though. That is for sure.
All right, Pedro.
No, I agree. I have one honest question. How would this tail interact with the hypersonic from the other? Is it Mike? I think it was the Chase Mike. Do you still get -3 if the source is different, or since you use the same set of powers, you still get the -3?
The tail, the tail ability is only given to the guys with the tails of the TMNT, so that.
Oh, I don't think the Chase has it, right?
Yeah, the 8-bit ones don't have it.
Okay, gotcha. That answers the question. Thank you.
No problem. All right, but yeah, my take is I like him better than Leo. But he's not quite there yet. Maybe they made a good Donatello for me, and maybe I'm also waking up from a sweaty dream. Who knows?
Oh, it hasn't shown up. There's still chance. There's still hope.
Yeah, there's many chances for them to get me my Donnie right, and video game Donnie has to be the strongest because if you've ever played the original TMNT video game, the first Konami one. He was OP. His reach was ridiculous, and those bosses, as long as you get to an upper ledge, couldn't touch you. All right, so let's talk about video game Raph, though. TMNT, ally, and martial arts keywords. Also ignores characters. Also has the auto-scrolling skate ability, which moves him upwards of 4 squares. The jump kick ability is also on his second set of 3 clicks, with the hypersonic and the ability to ignore hindering and -3 to speed. His special ability on first 2 and last 2 clicks is the size. Flurry, when making a close attack, Raph deals penetrating damage. Ralph must have looked at something with Wreck-It Ralph recently. He's either 100 or 75 points. He starts with hypersonic at the 75-point value. Charge and battle fury on the first 2 clicks at the 100-point value with indomitable. Pedro, your thoughts on 8-bit Raffy?
To be honest, the first thought was I need a Raphael ID card for sure. Easily, but it's not gonna happen. No. Again, I apologize. I feel so divided. Again, I think it's borderline good, but again, you're betting everything on your first 2 clicks, doing the miracle. I can see that it's so hard to pull off the clicks 3, 4, and 5 from the chases for you to ignoring characters, just hitting and running away in hoping that they click up because you have Splinter on the healing dial. It's so many things that you have to coordinate, and the possibilities of them actually working as a mechanic for your team, it's so low that unfortunately it's going to be great to pull it out in a fun game, but it's borderline decent for me. I like it, but again, I don't feel brave enough to put it in a real game.
All right, Jay?
I don't really have anything to add there.
Yeah, no, I don't think I really have a hot take that's different from what you guys have on this one, to be brutally honest. Next up, we have the boxing bot for 10 points. Would you take a Carnage, this over a Carnage?
That's an easy answer. Yeah. So we won't say it.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna answer that question. I mean, again, though, you can't expect 10-point bystanders coming out of a starter set to be breaking, taking your Colossals and going, Bye-bye. No, we have 10 points to spend on these really awesome colossals. So, all right. So with that said, Canadian or Nationals is the thought on everybody's mind. How do you do it? What do you play on it? What are your thoughts on it and everything like that? And, you know, everybody wants a hot take. I don't know. I'm sorry. I've been absent on the show for a while. So if you're hearing me repeat myself a lot or hearing me repeat everybody else's thoughts. Tough. Because this is the conversation we have to have for the next couple of weeks. This is kind of the focus for anybody who's competitive players. We really need to be focused on how we're going to play it out. Now, up to Canadian Nationals, including U.S. Nationals, and I believe UK Nationals, everything that's out is what's going to be playable, with the exception of Ninja Turtles being added maybe to Canadian Nationals. And no, wait, maybe U.S. Nationals as well, because it's an early June release.
Yeah, early
Well,
June.
I think by June.
It has to be first week of July. So,
But for Origins, I don't know.
It's not going to be legal for Origins. So
No,
it's probably going to be
yeah.
okay. So we have to keep an eye on it for Canadian Nationals. You're not going to be able to keep an eye on it really for US unless somehow it gets magically poofed into existence. So we kind of know what's out there, and we know.
It says
still on the tip of everybody's tongue. Let's
June 27th.
June 27th is the release of Turtles. Okay, so it's past Origin. Origin. He's hanging U.S. Nationals. You're not even Turtles doesn't exist. And the thought right now is, well, there's Unimind and there's Shredders, and those are the things that we all have to talk about, with maybe a few other exceptions on the outlier. Avengers Infinity may have a thing or two or a combination or two that could help. None of them are really groundbreaking off the top of my head that I'm seeing, though. So the question then becomes, is this one of those metas? And I'm going to open the floor to everybody on this one. I'm just leading with a lot of talk, as I usually do, because you guys all missed this, didn't you? You missed my face. You missed my face. You missed my talking. And my nonsense going on and on and on and on. But the hot take is it play those or beat those, or is it just play those because there's nothing out there that beats those? I want to hear your hot takes before we start talking about the solution, before we get solution oriented. So what are your thoughts? And then after we talk about what our thoughts going into the meta is, like, do you have to play it or beat it, or is there something else? Is really what we want to talk about right now. And then we'll talk about our being solution oriented after that. So Pedro, hot take right now is it Unimind, Shredder, or is there something else out there going into the season?
Trying to summarize everything and be concise, I think it's not the only thing that's out there. There are some unconventional things that you can bring. We will talk a little bit more about it when we discuss solutions. Yeah. But definitely, I think you were very fortunate when you said you will be playing it, or by at least you will be facing it. So by all means, if whatever is your alternative team, don't ever think that, as long as I don't get a Unimind or a Shredder team in front of me, I'll win this, because you will. I mean, assume you will. Probably both, and more than one eventually. And I repeat after you've seen each.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it through the Swiss, you got lucky. If you get to the finals, you're running into it at some point.
You will have faced each.
Thing you're going to be playing against.
Yes.
Jay, your thoughts?
I mean, there's just so many. There's so many things now, and even among those things, there's so many options of point lines. Like we have a 25 starting line giant girl. We have so many colossals, so many options. Like, I feel like there's definitely other things that can perform well. Like Sam Cap can do some cool stuff, and there's so many options of what to build with her. Because, I mean, once you throw an overdrive, that's only 105. You already don't have themes. You can just play whatever you want at that point. Like, you don't. That's just one example. There's just so many options. I feel like it's not play one of the two things or bust, in my opinion.
That's fair. One of the things I always thought about was with I've been tooling with the idea of considering the idea of Photon because of Overdrive as well. It's just like, oh, Overdrive, you say? Come here.
Get over here.
That is my joke idea. I'm not actually going to engage in that nonsense unless I have the points left over in whatever I've come up with that beats Unimind. And where my mindset is not right now, it is, if you can't beat Unimind and Shredder, you're not going to be winning. That's for sure. But I don't necessarily say give up and play them yet. only give up and play them when you hit that point where it's like, I can't do it. I can't come up with that idea. And, you know, that whole mindset can only come in like the last 2 weeks before the Nationals. I'm going to say that right now, because when we get into solution territory, which is the next conversation we're going to have, you have to be focused on getting there and have a deadline as to when you have to turn around and say, I have to play this strategy. So that's where my head space is right now. It's like, I am going to do everything I can to beat these things, whether I am playing them or not. And I have to understand them, and I recognize like how the game is looking right now. So that said, let's get solution oriented, guys. We have these teams of shredders. We have these teams of Unimind out there, or teams with Unimind, Unimind featuring friends. Where does your head go first when you're trying to solve this problem? Pedro, I'll let you go first right now.
Well, other than the usual, which is not the reason, but one of the reasons that made it famous, of course, it's shredders, but that doesn't help the discussion. One thing I like a lot, and the Captain America title came to this solution. I think Unimind, and I'm not saying that the rest of the team is useless. By all means, all the guys who build Unimind are very competent players, and they know how to make it even more deadly. But Unimind is still the main guy of the show. So you can have some guys like we discuss all the time that is, in terms of threat assessment, has shape changes, super senses like the Loki clones, and some Iceman Collins with pulse wave to help go through whatever he's got, perplexes or not, then leave the ice clone there, some crazy retaliation that you can keep alive, and basically free incaps. I think incaps goes along. I think incap, and I've been saying this for a little while now, I think incap, if properly used, could be a real treasure here. Granted that it was a lot better when ID cards could only be called by non-token characters, but it's still good because you're stealing a lot of tempo from Unimind, which is either going to be your main caller or main attacker anyway. So I think that's one way to deal with the problem. Barriers help as well, but I wouldn't lean too much on it because I think WizKids woke up to the fact that something needed to be done with barriers. So again, don't count on it to be your saving grace, but don't simply discard it either. So I think that either by reducing tempo or spreading your team, I like what Jay said. Get Wasp title, get some crazy amount of retaliate, 2 Carnages, 1 Surtur, 2 Giant Girls, 10 points. You still probably left with 85 points. Get the Tangent Green Lantern and the rest of ID cards, and you're retaliating 3-4 times in a round and resurrecting Surtur if he kills it first. So it's crazy time. Make Unimind's life threat assessment miserable, and make sure you have a barrage of things like the X-Men team as well to just nail him, because I think he's half your team, and he's not impossible to deal with. Having said that, don't think it's easy to beat him, because it's far from it.
All right. Jay, thoughts?
It's interesting that you mentioned Surtur, because I had thoughts related to it. Because now that we have all this cosmic stuff, you can pretty much guarantee that Unimind should be playing Cosmic Thief most of the time, right? Because there's just so much good stuff there.
Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, you could not. I mean, obviously not every single build, but I feel like it's just the better way to play Unimind at this point, because why wouldn't you? So therefore, he's not playing with Surtur. So I feel like, and with the recent wording or rules clarification or rules posting about how unavoidable damage works, I feel like Darwin can actually be good against Unimind now, because you're not going to be playing against a Surtur, and he can't just pick the 1 power at the beginning of the game and get away with keeping it, because he will take the damage. So then you have a situation where he won't be able to pick stealth, and therefore is less likely to pick, not going to pick stealth, so is less likely to take perplexes, because then you can outwit him. So it's a whole chain of events where that can be pretty cool. Otherwise, against Unimind specifically, I wish we weren't losing the Dr. Fate ID with the 2016 ones, because that inspiration would have been really cool. But it's almost like WizKids wanted that to be not an option. They wanted Unimind to be good. I feel
Cosmo
like
prevents people from giving power actions, right? On the second click, I don't
Yeah,
second,
but
second,
it's already
probably-
fourth.
it's a very short dial to begin with, and pushing onto it is, I don't know. But I basically feel like if you want to play no theme, like I don't feel like there's any map where Unimind is just like, if I pick this map, I win. So you can just have more options of not playing theme. So Darwin, Random Nonsense, Barrier is still good. I mean, getting 4 squares or 1 free square from Green Lantern's good. And yeah, I don't know. So strong. So annoying.
Yeah, the Unimind is a presence. And I mean, honestly, when it comes to a Cosmic Theme team, the only thing you're getting is a map roll. And like you said, he doesn't care about most maps. Like you can put him in the office and he'll still run around circles around it. I'm still on the Leech board. Controlling what powers they can't pick can go a long way, especially if you know the volume of them. One of the things worth mentioning as well is, as Pedro brought it up, when you have a character and the common complaint is, oh my gosh, the Unimind is easy mode. Yeah, now put easy mode in the hands of a guy who's capable of playing on expert. Right, guys? So a smart player is going to play Unimind. Why are they going to put extra effort into trying to win when they know they have the ability and the mindset to go, I'm going to just win? Right?
Well, plus tournaments are so long, like the less stress you can put on your brain, the better you're going to be at the end of the day.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, people who win the tournaments go through the endurance trial of first the 4 rounds of Swiss, that's 4 hours. Then there's the 3 rounds of single elimination. That's like 7 hours of Heroclix you have to play through. And that's not including break times in the middle of that or time between rounds, time where rounds go to time and certain guys are taking forever to figure out how much is left in the game. All these things kind of factor into the length of the entirety of the day. And if Unimind is probably the best thing going on right now, that's why the smart players are playing it. Subsequently, though, the Shredder, a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't take much thinking and so on and so forth. Well, it does take a lot of thinking because you have to carefully take those free damages and not get the damage back. That's you can't just go, well, I'm going to walk my Shredders in and I'm going to win. Well, that's how you lose. Bad news. So all these things getting in considered. Let's get back on the actual topic, which is how do we deal with this? Now, Jay's idea with the Surtur attack twice in turn is bloody amazing because if you can get both attacks to hit, Unimind's dead because the stop click is on his defense, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So the first one, and I think he's got a printed 4 damage, correct?
So
Surtur has a printed 3.
Printed 3. So still,
he deals 1 penalty after.
But he deals 1 afterwards. Yeah.
So yeah, and then he deals the 1 after, and then he makes an actual attack after you shrink him with the wasp. Love it. Squish. I wish there was. Is Wasp the only character that can change sizes right now?
Well, Mixie retires. I think that's
exactly.
Like,
we're talking
about
the
moment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing else.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that does take your title character. Now, I do have to do a little bit more research with Cap because Cap was starting to look really good in my book, but I need to do the work and make the team because that's an expert mode team, and I gotta say to myself, I'm not expert mode anymore these days. I've tried expert mode enough. It's time to bring it down a little on my brain and not hurt myself anymore, or hurt my standings, as it were. But at the same time, if I can make Cap work, I can make Cap work. That's probably what I'm considering among other possibilities. So there are ideas out there, and I think the one thing that we're stressing on top of all things, and I think we've been stressing it since the inception of this show, is to try these things out. You have to take these teams, you have to try them out. Also, don't discount these exclusives, these con exclusives. Grab a big coin or grab an old figure, put it on the KO dial, and have a printout of the Uhura dial, the KIRK or Uhura dial. You guys are just going to be practicing anyway. It doesn't matter what both teams know. Both teams knowing full knowledge actually just kind of helps the practice stage of this because it helps make the decisions that other players are probably going to be making or informed players are going to be making. You cannot count on a player making a mistake. That is a bonus. That is a cookie. You're eating a gourmet meal in competitive play, and you just got a cookie in the middle of it. Enjoy, all right? But eat your lima beans still. right? So don't discount some of these. There's some things we discussed last week. I know I'm looking at Starro a little bit differently than I used to, because there's ideas. There's ideas with Starro we've had, not us ourselves. I've had, so we'll have it off camera. Don't discard the slimy starfish. Anyway. So all that kind of comes to, this is the conversation we have to be having until national season really starts getting in, is ramping up, because this is what we're all about, is getting you guys a little bit better at the game, getting us a little better at the game, talking about our thoughts and spewing out our verbal diarrhea that is our team. Also worth noting, Jay's idea of the Wasp with Surtur is, I believe, 70 points of a team, 75 points of a team, right?
Yeah, 25 plus 50.
You could still build around that. Yep. You still have 230 points. So that said, be careful. Unimind teams might be using that because
they'll fit.
I said it last year just before Rocktober. It's like it's either going to be Jakeem or Unimind with Nighthawk.
Yep. Yep. They'll likely have some Mjolnirs there, so Mjolnirs and Star Foxes, so they can flurry for a lot. So, but I wouldn't discard. One thing that I thought maybe we're thinking is maybe is it Eternity that has a chance of not KOing characters?
Yeah.
Does that apply to Pogs or doesn't it?
No, it specifically says not Pogs.
Not
but
Pogs,
even if it
right?
didn't, Pogs don't have a last click anyway, so it doubly
exactly wouldn't be able to implement it. Yeah, because I don't dislike putting the Harley Quinn beside the Penguin, the Fast Forces Penguin, and put Tiger on the other side. Looks so fun, and having all those crazy Harley Quinn Pogs just having charge blades and flurry could be devastating. And then you put some bodyguards there to make sure that they don't hit Harley. I don't know. I also like Wyrm as a calling battery. I think Wyrm is amazing. I saw you play in Brazil in a couple of championships. That thing is hard to kill, and it's stressful to kill. And you put him a mirror on it just to make it even nastier. So it's fun, and he's a great for calling with the wishes. I took the pleasure of having him call Nick Fury and then roll a wish on a 6 that had Nick Fury with range combat expert, because if there's something that Nick Fury was missing, was range combat expert on the top dial. So you're not going to be calling Nick Fury, but whoever you call in, it's going to be has a chance to becoming great. So I like making sure that every time Unimind attacks, it has a chance that attack itself will fail, and it just wasted 150 points of their team on a failed attack. I think that's what gets your opponent with a Unimind may be fearful of thinking twice, because if you have a long dial, they won't care. They're just going to eat through your dial. If your team is just laborious to kill, Unimind will not break a sweat. But on the other hand, if there's a cost benefit into attacking into any figure of your team starts to get into your opponent's head, and that's where you're making progress.
I hope nobody's sleeping right now on Eternity and Kronos, because those are really solid considerations on some teams too. Because Kronos is, I think he's 9 range with probability control colossal. In addition to which, he's got that trait, whereas if you miss by 1, you get a reroll, and if he dies, he still has that. So that's and that's not just for him. That's for like your team, which is I don't sleep on Kronos. Consider him. He's only 60 points at his lowest possible dial. Infinity 75 gives you plus range. Plus
wait, Infinity's Infinity. Oh, you did mean Infinity. Never mind.
Yeah, Infinity. Yeah, the at 75 points, power cosmic, colossal 12 range without wit. Also got barrier 12 range barrier. Yeah. you could go across the board and tell a Unimind to stay still for a second.
Be calm.
Like, just stop. On an indoor map, of course. An outdoor map, he's just going to fly right over. But an indoor map, you're going to force him to use phasing or something like that, and he'll be forced to move away from it. That's
I guess he will have access to phasing because he'll have Star Fox, who has a top dial.
Oh, but I chose Leech and I said no phasing.
and your Infinity has a Barry Brant by his side, so he moves 2 less just for fun. Thiago was mentioning it last show. It was awesome.
Yeah. So anybody sleeping on Kronos and Infinity, consider them as a portion of your team. Not like build your team around them, but long range outwit goes a long way. A long range prob goes a long way. A continuous probability control type effect. Think of how many times he said my probability controller was dead and I missed by 1. Kronos is like, that's fine, reroll. From the dead.
You can still reroll.
You can prompt, bro. You can prompt that one. You only have to miss one of the targets by one, guys. You only have to miss one of the targets by one.
Yep. The trait reminds me of Monty Python. You're dead. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
He's still alive. He's dying. I got better.
Exactly. I'm happy.
Yeah. So don't sleep on these continuous effects that are in there, because there's a lot of good going on. Yeah. Anything we want to add before? I don't think we have another topic to discuss, really. But
I would just say bring some out tweets for the shredders, because you don't want sidestep lying around, and make sure you can dish out some damage. It's going to be number of attacks and damage dealt is going to be good. And like you said, if everything fails, goes to something more comfortable and more forgiving, or on emergency, use Peace Machine, because at least you level the playing field a little, and it can at least buy you some time to think whatever it is that you want to do.
Hey, man, I wouldn't mind my affinity living through a shot and seeing that 19 defense. Like, yeah. All right, Jay, anything you want to say before we, I guess, move on to questions?
No, I don't think so.
All right, fine. That's fine. I also do want to take a second before we get into our fan questions. Check us out at patreon.com/MadeWithClicks. Give us a little bit of support. It goes a long way. Action tokens have been modeled for the 2 months previous. There's a little bit of a delay on them. So the guys at Big Bully have made the art. They're going to show me the art. They're going to ship the tokens to me. That guy ship them out to you. So I apologize for the delay on the March, April tokens. You're a patron, but they're coming. Anyway, if you do want to join us on Patreon, any value gets you access to the patron hangout. Our next one, our next one should be June 1st, but we got bad news on that one. I'm getting my wisdom teeth out that week, and I don't think my mouth will be operational for a talking show, so we're gonna move it to Friday, June 8th. My mother's birthday. Oh no, I'm in trouble. My mother lives in another city. It's okay. She'll appreciate me just giving her a phone call. So June 8th will be the next patron hangout. If you are part of that, any valuation on the Patreon gets you access to that. You can join us, chit chat with us, talk to us. Actually, sorry, I correct myself. That's going to be Sunday, June 10th, because we're moving it to Sundays. That was the big thing. We're moving it to Sundays because Fridays, it's been a little hard for our patrons to actually get there on Friday because people have lives on Friday night, even though we're all nerds. Sorry, we actually have lives. We're weird nerds like that. So it gives our patrons more of a chance to actually show up on the Sunday night one and get a little time with us. So that was the big announcement I want to make on that one. But again, anybody from $1 value gets on that. $10 value and up gets you in on the Discord. I've been a little lax on Discord because I've been very busy at work right now, but I will be throwing verbal diarrhea on that within the next little bit to kind of get the thoughts going, because that Discord is going to be a great place to have some conversations about the Nationals meta. And one of those things I mentioned in regards to net decking or net building rather is that's a culmination of multiple brains kind of putting together. The more brains you can get working on your idea, the better. And the better it becomes. And even though it seems like you're net building, well, if you were somewhere there in the initiation of it, you can feel a little better. If you weren't there, you're still getting the brainchild of many brains. And, to my great minds think alike, though fools rarely differ. So be careful. All right. I've advertised enough for us a little bit. Let's move into the fan questions. If you're currently watching live, put question in front of your questions in the chat so that I can kind of catch them. I saw a couple questions in there. I'm going to try to find them, but try to just in capital letters put question if you're live in the chat while you're there. But we start with the Facebook, and we start on our Facebook. It's facebook.com/madewithclicks. Where Michael Fedor asks, do you think that the game is cycling back to larger point build totals with the inclusion of all these major pieces to build around? All these colossals are not considering the 300-point average build. I believe there's only one character that can't be played in a 300-point game. Am I correct in that with the Cree number 459, or does it actually have?
It's a 150.
Is it 150? Okay, so correction. none of them ignore 300 points. There just happens to be what we like to call the fun dials on them, the 350 and higher. Like you get the 900 point living tribunal. That's not going to see competitive play, but there's smaller point values that fit into that. And that's when I say design considers that 300 point. Look at those like last 4 clicks of infinity. That's what design is thinking about. And the next, like I think the next dial up is like 125 points. Design's thinking about that dial. Beyond that 300 point line, design's like, they get a 15 back.
Let them have it. Let them have it. Whatever.
The competitive players won't care about that part anyway. It's kind of my thoughts on it. Pedro, your thoughts if you disagree or.
No, I totally agree, and it's meant for that. When you're going for the big points, you don't want the imagine 30-point dials with 2 damage in every click and 20 defense in 11. You're not hitting any attacks, and they only do 2 damage. It's gonna last 4 hours in a game, so it's about the big hitters clashing it out, and and it is what it is. I agree completely.
All right, Jay.
Nothing really to add.
Cool. All right. Next up, then we have Weston Steiner. What do you think will make the metas from Avengers Infinity? No, but seriously, if you had to pick one character of Batman animated series lore that you want to be the meta pick of the set, who would it be and what would they do? Ooh, it's been a long time since I put any consideration in the animated series, but I do remember that Creeper kind of felt like Freakazoid in a lot of ways. So I want my Creeper to be kind of Freakazoid-like and just a little wacky in the dial sense, but I want it to be wacky in a way that's always consistently good because he was kind of cartoony, kind of weird, but also kind of cool. Some people are going to disagree with me. That's fine. I just want I want to say Creeper multiple times, and we've had a couple have decent Creepers in the past. I wouldn't mind this one just being that little bit better. I think we've already talked about what we think is already kind of good in Avengers Infinity today. We've mentioned Infinity, we've mentioned Kronos. Don't sleep on those guys, and that title Wasp, definitely worth to talk about. Pedro, your thoughts on what do you think from the Batman animated series that you would want to see as a click, and not only see it as a click, but see it be a meta strong figure?
Oh, we had a similar question 2 shows from back before the last one, and Mike stole it from me. Genuinely so, deserved so. So I'm gonna be alone here. Clayface for sure, a crazy Clayface, big, massive, with a completely OP shape change where he steals the power from someone, where he succeeded, or even that he attacks back with the power where he succeeded. A crazy tire piece with plasticity, choking. Mud, whatever, the whole thing. I love him. I think he was a great portrayal in the series, so I'm a big fan. It would be awesome to see him. I did have my share of happiness to see some way to see Colossus meta on the Marvel side. Let's see if I get lucky on the Clayface.
All right, Jay.
Let's go with Harley Quinn. Considering that she had her debut there. And doubly so because it's like the one universe where she didn't have an overly sexualized costume. Because I was talking with Mike about this yesterday. It's like you can only see her face because she has like the whole jester outfit. So like normal, non-sexualized costume would be cool to see, and because that's where she debuted. Or Mr. Freeze for essentially the same reason, because Mr. Freeze was not taken seriously before. That if you look at what he was in the Adam West show, like not even the same character. So
yeah, that series made him badass.
Yeah.
Like that armor that he was wearing was actually like armor, and every version ever since, like even in the comics, Mr. Freeze became like, oh my god, Mr. Freeze is coming. So
yeah.
And plus, with the IDs we're getting for all the major Batman villains, they're gonna be more playable no matter what. So. Yeah. Hopefully.
Remains to be seen what we get out of that. That would be pretty neat to see.
What do you mean? Like the dials, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The option to call in.
Yeah. What options are we going to get to call in with these guys?
Yeah. I mean, there's already good options for pretty much all of them. Like, I would love to call Untitled Harley Quinn. Sweet. Yep. Awesome.
or the Joker, the chair Joker would be not bad at all.
Well, I was more thinking Dark Knight Returns Joker for the ranged poison.
It's also good.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, all of these are really cool options. All right. Next up, we got Richard Evans wants to know There are a lot of new meta possibilities, but I feel the default will be Unimind. How much do you think Darwin and Unseen are going to affect team builds? I didn't really get a opinion on Unseen because I don't think we pulled him.
I like him.
I do like him. I don't think he's going to be changing the flow of anything per se. You know what, Jay? What do you sound like you had more together opinion there?
I was going to say he's like B tier, like in the fringy sort of area. Like I've seen people say he's not that good, but I think he's definitely solid. Like he does some cool things, and like stealth busting outwit means that even if they have to pick. Even if they pick stealth, he can still see them. So they won't want to pick powers like Lose Power Cosmic, blah blah blah. So I mean, and he can do Collins or pretty much everything relevant. He sits from really far away. The smoke cloud is whatever. Really good swing too with his 10 movement phasing plus sidestep. Like I think he's definitely playable. But I don't really know how he factors into the whole Unimind equation.
You can give him a mirror or symbiont and think outside the box and use it as a tie-up piece because it's so hard to kill. You can't outwit anything from him. He has a shape change of 3 to 6, a super senses of 4 to 6, and he has outwit. He doesn't attack or deal damage, but he's just hugging someone in your team and making his life miserable, and outwitting and still probing your team way back there when you're shooting at them. So I wouldn't discard it. I don't think he's automatic play, but he's incredible for the points he's given. And yes, there are better options. You can have a lockjaw where you pick powers, but that's what are the odds of getting a lockjaw versus getting an unseen? So it's like you said, it's not instant play has to be in every team, but he's strong. Don't sleep on him.
Yeah,
I was gonna say give him Thunderstrike and he turns into Frogman with a Force Blast.
Okay, so kind of my hot take on this is the Unseen is not useless in a game against Unimind, but you do have to have a team that is going to force him to want to perplex a lot. And then he's going to realize he can't be using the perplex because the Unseen is there, and then he opens himself up to outwit. In addition to which, the Unseen is packing some probability control. He's got that really good super sense. There's a lot going on at the Unseen that makes him really good. And as well, on a team where you're up against somebody who might not be able to be outwitted, I mean, I don't see full teams not being able to be outwitted. There's going to be elements that you can deal with the Unseen, and the fact that he's Power Cosmic, not really outwittable himself, go a long way towards that. So he's not useless. He's not a first go-to, like Pedro said. He fits into a team for sure. It's just a matter of figuring out what that team that you think he's going to work best with is. I'm thinking about it now. And it's not on the realms, or I'm not in the rumor thread. Does the title cap have soldier keyword?
Good question.
I could grab mine really quick.
No.
Or you can go in the evidence thread. That's probably.
I'm doing that right now. I'm going in the evidence thread. Oh my gosh, it's been dumped down a little bit, eh? Where is it? It's not one of the top 2 anymore. Oh, here it is. Oof, what happened, man? You guys have been pushing it down.
I ran out of room, so I had to put the fast forces in the top.
No, I meant the thread itself, because most active threads are usually on the top.
Well, because that's already out.
Yeah. Well, I guess people are done talking about it, and that's what I mean. It's like, all right, Starshine is not what we're looking for. The Unseen, Wasp.
Can you just search function it?
Got him. Avengers, Cosmic Soldier, Warrior.
Neat.
Just saying.
Wait, Warrior?
According to the evidence thread.
I mean, it's me, so.
All right, so it's probably wrong.
Yeah, so why bother looking? Might as well just random pick the answer.
I love that he walked away after I said that, as though he's angry about that, but now he's double checking just to be sure. Yeah, I was right. So and he didn't hear any of that because he's using headphones. So he's actually not that bad a person. I do enjoy his company sometimes. Oh, and Jay's back too.
I have him somewhere. Give me a second.
Oh boy. Doing it manually, it's hard work. So anyway, yeah, the Unseen, while Jay is figuring out that whether or not he actually does have the Warrior keyword while we're thinking about it, is not unthinkably bad, and he does fit into some teams. But you do have to take into consideration what you're dealing with out there, and is he enough for you? He's enough to help with shredders. He's enough to help you hit a Unimind, that's for sure. All of these are worth the consideration. Jay, what's the end?
I seemingly can't find him in my cosmic pile. I'm sorry.
Let me get it. No, who do you want to see?
It doesn't matter if he has
cool
it. It's a bit.
The point is he has soldier. That was the important information.
Don't worry, I'll solve the debacle. Don't worry, go for it. Keep going.
Get the binder. Get the binder out and everything. I believe that's everybody on the Facebook questions. So we're gonna now move into the chat.
So Captain America, Prince of Avenger, Cosmic Soldier, Warrior.
There it is.
Warrior. Okay.
Yeah.
Come out and play. Come out and play.
And Unseen has Comic Soldier and Spy.
Yep. All right. You have a comment as opposed to a question in here. Happy Little Heroclix does point out that Eternity is going to make some turtle friends. Maybe. William Dickies thinks there's a conspiracy to hype up the Eternals movie around the corner. Not wrong, I'm sure. Gregory Zod wants to know, how does Tony Stark's car work from Avengers Infinity? I'm not sure. I think it's electric and not combustion fuel based. What? Oh, he's talking about the figure.
Likely.
I'm being facetious while I'm looking it up. I apologize.
What's the actual question? How it works?
Yeah, how does it work? Sometimes we get these like, how does this wholly function? Do be careful to read that vehicle function. That's kind of the first part you have to understand. 100 or 75 points. He is what he is. It's can carry one character as passenger one, of course. He's got a two-seater sports car. He's got that pilot ability. So if the pilot of this vehicle happens to be Iron Man or Tony Stark, the vehicle gets shape change. When somebody misses with it you get to roll a 5 or 6, roll a die on a 5 or 6. You remove an action token from him. He's got a special defense power at the end that turns him into this special terrain dial, which is later on the dial. It's actually got a click number in there, if I remember correctly. Turn to the blue click number 1. And then that special terrain dial has its own effects, including it's still rolling. Use it as cover. You can kind of push it as moving cover, give you an additional +1 defense to the hindering terrain bonus that you should get for being behind it. I hope that answers your question. To be brutally honest, sometimes like how does it work doesn't go all the way towards the information we need to answer you properly. So if that wasn't enough, please feel free to email us at marriedwithclicks@gmail.com with like specifics as to your question if we didn't quite nail it right off the bat. All right. Eternity. Right. So William Dickey is active in the chat here. How important will theme be going forward between X-Men, Cosmic, Monster, Gotham City, Underworld? We have a lot of options to make unique teams. That's theme is one of those things. Don't rely on it. Just because you have a theme team doesn't make your team automatically great. But do understand what you can be getting out of it. Do you get a major advantage from having the map roll? Always. But is it important for your team to have the map roll, or is it more important to get something that theme may be lacking? Because theme teams do tend to focus in a direction sometimes. X-Men, I find, are just generally, each character is really good, and they're reasonable points. And they make it for a well-rounded team, but they make for a very well-rounded punching bag as well. If you catch my meaning, like it's very soft, squishy in that manner. Like that's been the history of X-Men characters in the game of Heroclix as far as everything's concerned. But that said, do think about your options when you are making these theme teams. You know, you get probability control with a named theme team. You don't get it with a non-theme theme team. What do you need out of it? Make sure you cover these bases as well. That's kind of my overarching thing. I probably could do a meta fix on that one as well. Pedro, what do you think?
I think you covered it quite good. I think map advantage is amazing, not only because it can make your team better, but it can also maybe sometimes you pick map because it's more disadvantageous to your opponent than advantage to you. So it is an important map. Extra prob, if you get a name, it's always good. But like Jason said, it's a matter of seeing the trade-off. You know, if you're giving up too much so that it weakens your teams to have team, then don't go for it. But if your team is already well-rounded and that's an added feature, there's definitely a lot of benefit on it. Map is a real thing. in the game. For instance, it's not going to be the case anymore, but Magneto Chase, while he was short-lived with Lila Cheney, everybody was having a map between their, the things that had no destructive, no blocking terrain over there, just in case you ended up facing this team, you win map roll, and wait. And it was important that the Magneto Chase had a team because it's a bigger chance that you actually pick the map that will have the blocking terrain you need to make Magneto Chase worth it. So if your team depends or relies on the map, then you need it. Then you can't arcade. If you don't win map with arcade, then half of the fun with playing arcade again or modern, just give an example, is gone. Now, if you do, if the trade-off's not too big, always go for it. Map advantage is amazing, like Jason said, and and if you get a named in, free props are awesome.
All right, Jay.
I feel like map roll is going to start mattering a little less if all of the 20,000 Giant Girl teams become more common, because if you're not playing a +20, you're not going to map roll. So if that becomes much more common. But otherwise, I mean, there's so many good theme options, I feel like, most of the time. Unless you want to play something specifically weird, like a Tom mishmash of all sorts of nonsense, I feel like you almost should at this point. Doubly so because WizKids is making more and more stuff that just synergizes, like different special powers and different team traits and whatever. Like, look at the X-Men set. Like, why would you not want to play, if you're playing one X-Men, you almost want to play a whole theme with them. So, or if it's a generic keyword like Cosmic now, there's just so many options. I wouldn't say it's necessary, but I feel like it can definitely help. And yeah, if your team, I mean, you shouldn't really be playing a team that just auto loses on a certain map, but it definitely helps. So,
yep. All right. Nolan Lake wants to know. Oh, and William Dickey wanted to call you out. He said you can't call him. Oh, we're watch Mike there, Pedro.
Oh,
there we go. All right, it's okay. I think we figured out where that scratch is coming from. Don't worry about it. We're all good. All right, Nolan Lake. Which of the most recent? Okay, there's two-part question here. So. Which of the most recent sets do you believe is the most new player friendly? Let's start with that part of the question. I think Mighty Thor was pretty new. No, there's some advanced X-Men. X-Men was pretty new player friendly. Movie sets are always like the super new player friendly. Like the Thor Ragnarok is probably one of the most player friendly ones you can get that's on the market right now. Beyond that, if you're talking about full blown sets, X-Men is very new player friendly, if you ask me. I don't know, Pedro. What do you think?
No, I fully agree. Echo that. Can be that.
Yeah, Jay.
I think Star Trek was pretty new player friendly. Like, if you're not playing a title character, like, you have teams where they all kind of do one thing. So if you start to play that team, you know how they work, kind of thing. Like, if you play Starfleet, like they all have like maybe one special power apiece. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty good.
Yep, that is a very good point. It's like each character is doing one thing, so you don't have to overfocus, wonder what this character is doing. There's not a lot of questions. So this character does this, that's it. And that's a very good point. Very good observation. All right. Next, he also wants to know, Mr. Nolan Lake wants to know, how have animal and monster keywords advanced with the Avengers Infinity set? Animal got Tigra, if I remember correctly, which was very notable addition. The Devil Dinosaurs are there, but they're just there. Monster got that new Hulk. I don't think the Red Hulk, and also got Groot, who are really good. Those are the ones that come to mind off the top. I mean, Animal also got the Gigantos, or at least the Giganto, not necessarily Giganto and Namor. Maybe he does. I don't know. I'm trying to find it. I'm terrible.
Don't worry. Back here.
Yeah. So there's big things in Animal now. It's really cool. So yeah, take a look at that.
Yeah, both have it.
Yeah. So don't discount. I mean, I think one Giganto can only be played at 200.
No, 200 or 100.
Oh, he's have 100 point dial.
The Giganto by himself is one or 200.
Okay, cool. But he doesn't have a Colossal Retaliation, and only the Namor Giganto does. So you got Animal Colossal Retaliation, you got Monster Colossal Retaliation added to an already full pool of monsters that Colossal Retaliate. There's a lot going on there. I don't know, Pedro, did I miss anything that's really?
Nope, that's what I'm doing. The checking here.
Cosmo, unless somebody mentioned.
Cosmo.
I didn't mention Cosmo. Cosmo's a cute little puppy that's really good in the animal keyword. That's for sure.
Doubly so because you're encouraged to play him in not a Guardians theme team, essentially.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And then he gets 12 attack when he's targeting multiple characters with mind control. Or is it 13 attack? It's mind-blowingly strong attack value out of the little puppy. And he's also tiny. So
no, wait, who's tiny?
Is it Cosmo tiny?
No, Cosmo's normal size, which is really weird. It's really weird if you think he is,
but not the.
That is, I guess they just don't hand it out too freely these days. And
we got a rocket in the last Guardians movie set that was normal sized.
Yeah,
and in this set,
yeah, and we also got one in the early sets that was tiny. It doesn't inconsistency. I don't know what to
tell you. It's a good tactic, though.
Rocket grew. All right, on that, let's. So yeah, animals, monsters. They got a little bit of a bump. Those are the most notable ones. As far as meta strong, animal lost a lot with the loss of Alyosha Craven. So like strictly animal, because animal will gain things it's not there anymore. But animal teams have things that are pretty decent. I mean, we got the Rat Kings; they can help. The Rat King's about to rotate out, so
yeah,
the one I'm thinking of is anyway. All right. Where were we?
But I think they benefited more from Deadpool and earlier sets, both and the Undead set. Yeah. I think they got a huge bump on those sets, and now just a kind of extra cherry on the top.
Yeah,
they came from obscurity, and then now I'm not saying they are ultra viable, but you can make some pretty nasty, unforeseen combos with both animal and monster.
Mm-hmm. And you want to add there, Jay? Or?
Not really. I don't think either of those are. I mean, monster is more viable, I would think, but it's not amazing either. You will get that second Undead set because the first one sold ridiculously well. So you never know.
That would be cool.
You could do the Jacob Marley, the Ghost of Abraham Lincoln and the Shredders with the teleporter that PJ used, and then have a name team, and then better suit the Ghost for the Green Lantern. So it works, and it's monster.
That's amazing. Gotta love PJ. I miss him. Miss him already. What'd you guys do to him in my absence? All right, next up. William Dickey wants to know who updates Realms and why are they not on the ball with the set. Okay, Realms is updated by a series of volunteers, and their schedules tend to rotate around the game of Heroclix to a certain degree. So there's been a number of ROCs recently that have been running. They could be busy with those. They could be busy with any number of things. I try not to get too uppity about it. If you check into the forums themselves and you go to the updates or rumors and updates,
upcoming sets and rumors.
Upcoming sets and rumors. That's what it was. You can actually find the Infinity thread. It's got everything there. I know we lose that in the tool builder. There's not much we can say about that except they're busy guys. They're volunteers. They're not paid. So
this is a very true statement. I mean, I rate for them, and all I get is the paid subscription. So not much incentive to be working around the clock.
All right. Next up, Julio Lopez. If you have 8 sealed cases of Avengers Infinities, what would you do? Sell 6 of them. I'm assuming I got them for free.
Opened or unopened?
Said sealed. Said sealed.
Yeah, but would you go to the trouble of cherry picking and then selling singles, or just sell the case and be done with it?
The sealed cases.
You do not make money back selling singles. The prices.
Look at this nonsense behind me. I don't have storage space.
Or time to manage mailing, which is nobody does. So
exactly.
The prices drop.
Already in a box. I'll slap a label on it. I'm good. See, the price is already dropping.
Yeah. Just from pre-release to now, like somebody told me that Chaos and Order are 20. Like
I'm looking at these uncommon colossals. I've had people like, how much for this? I'm like $5. Like, really? That's it? Like, I didn't build the plastic. I just want to get rid of the colossal figure. Give me the extra money I have to spend on it.
I have 3 Devil Dinosaur Moon Girls, and nobody wants one of them.
It's pretty. I could see the economic rationale if you want to buy it in pre-release, in the expectation that this is going to be the new meta piece, and then it's going to blow up the value after that. But it's so unlikely, and it has to be so blatant. It has to be a piece, a unique fury that, as if Adam Warlock could do everything in every click and then have +1 in all his stats. Then it's otherwise everybody knows the pre-release prices are just ultra inflated. They're just banking on people anxiety. Give it a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and of course, if you're a strict meta player, you need the piece and you're going to a championship or whatever, then you don't have an option, but you made that life choice, so it shouldn't matter to you anymore. Otherwise, if there's no need, don't pay for the time component of the equation if you don't have to.
Also, sit down with me and we'll talk about your life choices if you're spending that much on some figures. I want to yell it anonymously at somebody right now, and that is the idiot who in the pre-release zone, and I'm talking like 3 days before the set came out, paid $130 for the unique Starshine. Seek help. Seek help. That thing is terrible.
Yep.
I think it's like it's probably it's going to be one of the cheapest super rare primes in existence. It's
yes,
so bad.
likely.
Yeah, it's
just so bad.
Yeah.
Oh man,
130 there.
Yep. If that guy plays Heroclix, there's buyer's remorse. If that guy's a really big fan of the Space Knights, I get it, man. I get it. I don't get it, but I get it.
You don't get why you're a fan, but definitely get why you would pay for it.
There we go. You are a fan, so I get why you pay.
You get respect. You don't get understanding.
All right. So this is a question that we answered throughout, and I'm just going to give a Cole's Note answer for what I'm about to say for this. But Papa Bear 2891. I'm new to Heroclix. I'm about to play my first tournament in June. It's a modern age 300 points. What are some of the teams I should prepare for? Teams full of shredders from the Shredder's Return set and the Unimind. Prepare for those figures. Those figures dominate right now. They're very strong. Be aware that their existence, and don't discount their existence. I swear to God, you need to be either playing those, like as a newer player, you may need to be playing those, but be aware that those teams exist and are very strong, and don't let it ruin your day, to say the least. Like, this is what we focused on the entire episode. Be ready for that. But also prepare to have fun. Just guys at competitive tournaments are some of the most fun people to play. If this is a competitive, it looks 300 modern age tells me it's going to be competitive. So if it's a local venue and it's not super competitive, I apologize for sending this guy prepped to beat Uniminds.
Yeah, exactly. We skewed the complete spirit of the event. Sorry.
And I apologize if that's the case, but if it's an actual full-blown competitive play tournament, prepare to have, even if it is competitive play, have some fun. People are great. Love them. Anything you guys want to add, Pedro?
Nope. Don't go with the expectation of being top anything. Go with the expectation of playing your team right and having fun. That's how you evolve. Don't go, oh, it's my first tournament. If I am top 4, then I'll continue on competitive. Not, I'll give up. It takes a lot of time to get good results, and it's not day to night. And no matter how gifted you are, you need some grinding. So go have fun. Make sure that you played well, that you practice your team. We say this all the time. It's not because it's cute. It's because it matters. And that's it. Focus on playing well and having fun. The rest will come.
Jay?
See it as a learning experience and have no expectations beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up, we're moving into the Discord. So these questions are coming from our patrons. And the first one comes from Nathaniel, who wants to know, Star Trek: The Next Generation, great set or greatest set? Greatest set, baby. If I don't get it, cutest of the Borg, WizKids were fighting.
I mean, it seems pretty likely.
If there's no
likely, considering we're getting primes. So
there's primes in the set?
Yeah. Yeah.
Greatest is not a word that goes far enough to describe how great this set's going to be. Pedro, what do you think?
No, I'm gonna be trashed. I'm a little bit more of a Star Wars fan, but I think that if you're going for Star Trek and you don't do the Next Generation, you're missing out badly. So, props for them to following through in style. So I think that they should be more aware, and please tell me if you disagree, that generation-wise, I think they might have a closer lookup from fans on this one, which is closer to them maybe than the original one. So they have a more attentive and more critique crowd this one. So they better do an outstanding job because the stakes are higher for this one. So they have the potential to blow the first one out of the water.
I have a talking point on that, but we're going to let Jay get Jay's opinion first.
There's only one problem with the set, and it's not really criticism because it's a stupid thing I wanted to do, but I wanted to play Age of Apocalypse Magneto to add Patrick Stewart as Picard into the X-Men. I can't do that in Modern now, so the set came out too late. But the criticism that it didn't come out soon enough is not really a criticism. So,
no. And my point to add on to Pedro's is, I said this a while ago. The original series do not base the success of the Star Trek license in Heroclix on that set. You have to base it on the next generation. If somehow you manage to flop on the next generation, that's when it's time to jump ship, because right now the age base, the player base in Heroclix right now, more players are familiar and way more familiar with characters from the next generation and the next generation of Star Trek in general than any other version of Star Trek that has ever existed. Deep Space Nine is not going to sell as well as the next generation. Voyager, not going to sell as well as the next generation. Movie sets, not even going to come close. Discovery, not even going to be there. Enterprise, not even going to be there. The next generation is going to be the biggest set in the license. They have to be ready for that, and they have to sell it, and they have to make the the fact that they're adding primes to it means that they're aware of exactly how strong a set this is going to be, and they are listening to me when I say things. I've got to be careful with that and stop being wrong. Because if they're listening to me when they say things and they do this to the set, whew, and like the fact that they have primes means they're not wasting alternative universe versions on chases. Means I'm going to get I better get my Sherlock data. I swear to God.
I mean, the set's already the best ever because we're literally getting Mark Twain. So
yeah, exactly.
How could this be a bad set?
I also want to point out too is that Deep Space Nine is going to have the best generics ever. Like just in the Dominion soldiers alone, that's enough. All right, but moving to question 2, also from Nathaniel. Unimind with Darwin and Doom Buggy to take him off the board in non-mirror match. Worth the points?
That's only 65 points extra.
I like the Doom Buggy's not cheap. I think it is cheap. It's like 25 points, so 65 points on top of your Unimind. Put him in the Dub Buggy to it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. There's no way of better suited anymore. So
yeah,
driving the Doom Buggy around is not a terrible idea. It gives some charge with some attack and some damage. There's worse things you could do.
Yeah.
That's my thought. I don't know. Pedro?
I agree. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's only focused against protecting against your own Darwin. And from what I've seen so far, I know they matter. Like you said, I'm more of a Leech guy than a Darwin guy if it comes to that, and I haven't seen a full flow of it. And I think you're better off playing around with Unimind by defeating him than just making him lose a click or two, especially if they play with Thunderstrike. So they actually might be even more aggressive just because they don't care. And the whole debacle about this Thunderstrike knockback is enough to take a token off with Captain Principle, because then you might see Unimind with Captain America. Who knows? So I don't think it's a bad idea at all. It could work. But it would work better if Darwin was a staple of anti-pickup power used everywhere. Or you probably have a good mechanics that is going to be rarely used, with all due respect.
I'm so angry that point combination works. Oh my God, he's only 65 points. That's only 230. You still have 70 points left over. You know what else you could add to that? Surtur and Wasp. Jay, any your thoughts?
Well, I feel like in that you're doing that, you kind of have to commit to Mjolnir to mitigate the if Cap is KO'd thing, because otherwise your Unimind is not happy with the Battle Fury. So you really do have to. Then you have to commit to Mjolnir over Thunderstrike, which is kind of a trade-off. Like ranged Flurry or ranged Close Combat Expert are cool, but like I don't know.
But more
game Unimind, and the Unimind himself is being possessed are comprised of Star Fox, who's in turn possessed by Eternity. It's like, what is this game right now?
Yo, dog, I heard you like Possession.
You can have a Unimind made of Thanos with the gauntlet with Star Fox with Eternity. Like, what? What?
And Nathaniel also wanted to point out that somebody showed him a +11 Avengers theme team that included 8 of the Fast Force's Giant Girls.
Only +11?
Oh, that means there's 3 other characters at 220 points.
Probably Wasp title, maybe, to make it 230 and then the rest. I don't know.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I'd almost use the uncommon one myself. Possibly get some Groot action going. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, by Groot action, I mean the Floral Colossal heals up, has that, like, I'll kill something small and charge it, because she doesn't have a Colossal she can charge an attack.
Yes.
Yeah, because she just has Trader Brutality. She has no... Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your questions. If you're watching live, thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching in the archives, also thank you very much for joining us. The ad revenue is much appreciated. Turn off your ad block. But we also have support from our friends over at majesticccg.com/apex-insiders. That is actually the link to the premium site, as I'm waiting for it to load, and I'm about to share the screen, and there it is. Boom. You get all kinds of neat information from great minds of the game. You can't hear PJ on the show anymore, but PJ does regularly contribute to the site. Easton Brock is a great mind of the game of Heroclix. AJ Pfeiffer, Diego Pinto de Luz, I believe, is also, hey, there he is right there. A regular contributor, Rock World Cup champion, Daniel Powell. These are all great minds. This is part of the premium site. The regular site itself as well gives you access to some of the cool stuff. Let's just lose the Apex Insiders. Just go to majestic.com, and I apologize for my Canadian internet. There's all kinds of stuff that you can check out for free out here as well. Not everything is money blocked from that. Check it out. They're a big supporter of the site. Jay is a regular contributor on there. I used to be a contributor, and then I got like this really busy job, and apparently we want to finish this project. So, but long-time contributor, Red Raphael, Patrick Uboko himself, 2-time Heroclix World Champion. So you know it's a great mind behind a bunch of great minds. Can't go wrong with that. As always, check us out on our social media, facebook.com/Heroclix. And yeah, that's about all we have. So as always, guys, it was nice to be back for a week. Jay, thanks for watching the ship while I've been gone. Continue to watch the ship while I'm gone. You've been doing a fantastic job. Pedro, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure chit-chatting with you on my one night back. One night only for a little while. We'll see what happens in the future. Maybe I'm back. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? But thank you guys. Thank you, everybody. But Nationals is around the corner. I'm finally taking some time to start thinking about my teams, building my teams, and then me and Amber are going to be getting them on the map to get some practice. Because you know what, guys? Practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody.